Hey everybody, how are you doing? This is Kirsten here, and thank you so much for tuning in today. This is a new episode of A Better Way with Kirsten podcast. On this podcast, we're talking about chronic pain and chronic sensations that you feel in your body, but they are actually coming from uh, different source. They're not coming from the body. It's not that your back is somehow broken or something's wrong with your leg or your foot or your whatever place it is where you feel that pain. The problem is that your nervous system is under a lot of stress and it is dysregulated. And this is what's causing your chronic pain and chronic sensations. This is what we're talking about on this podcast. And one of the things that I really like to talk about a lot is training, exercising, strength training in particular, for people who are dealing with these chronic sensations or who are overcoming these chronic sensations and want to get started with exercise again. And I find this to be really, really important that people who have these chronic sensations move a little bit as much as they can, even if it's the tiniest bit. And I understand that it's sometimes really difficult if your sensations are really, really strong. I get it. But if at all possible, I really encourage you to get moving a little bit more, because a lot of the times we are so under so much fear and we think that we're going to make things worse. We could basically move, we could exercise, but we're thinking that, oh my God, I'm going to make my back pain worse, or oh my God, that's going to make my foot pain worse, and I'm not supposed to do it. And if you truly understand what nervous system dysregulation is, or TMS, it's also known a lot of times, you know that there's actually nothing physically wrong in your body. And I really want to encourage you to start exercising a bit, even if it is taking a little bit more walks, or even if it is just standing up and sitting back down, something like that, if at all possible, because that will teach your brain that you are confident in what you're doing and that there's no reason to cause this sensation. So, in other words, you're really proving to your brain that you are not afraid of what is going on, because it truly isn't dangerous at all. And of course, like I said, I understand sometimes the situation can be really, really difficult. So if this is one of you, don't take it like I'm telling you that you have to get up, maybe you're only in bed right now, I can't move at all, and go run marathons. Absolutely never. I will never tell you that. But what I am saying is that sometimes we are so terrified that we don't even consider moving, although that would actually do us really, really good. And I have a lot of examples of that in my clients who have started strength training, and little by little, step by step, they have gotten stronger, and also their sensations have gotten so much better because they are proving to their brains that I'm not afraid of it. And this is the story of myself too. Years ago, I had a really, really bad back pain, lower back pain, which is the classic TMS. Like, I'm the classic example of that. And I also wasn't sure what this is, and I was avoiding movements and didn't really work out, which, well, I did work out, but I modified a lot of things, and I always had this really fearful mindset. And that wasn't helpful, because what was going on was nothing physically problematic. What was going on was that I was just under a lot of stress, and my brain perceived exercise as stressful. So for me, a lot of times, anything that involved forward bending or squatting was really difficult to do. So I either didn't do it, I avoided it, or I really modified so that, I would still go into it like with a really big fear mindset. And I also saw a chiropractor for years, and this chiropractor one time told me that, well, what if I told you that you're never going to deadlift again? And I was feeling really low, really down, because I was like, oh my God, like I love working out. I've always done it. Do I really have to say goodbye to some of my favorite lifts? And luckily this wasn't the case, because now I can deadlift whatever I want. And I'm able to lift pretty heavy weights, and I'm really proud of it, because it really shows that you can overcome these chronic pains and chronic sensations that are coming from your nervous system. So now let's talk today about workout mindset. If you are a person who have had this TMS or chronic pain, but now you are deciding that, okay, I'm going to get started. I'm going to give this a try. So I want to give you some tips and tools that you would have to keep in mind for you to succeed in this, because I want this for you so much. I know how empowering strength training is, especially for women. So I want you to be able to do it. So what I'm going to do in today's podcast is I'm going to give you 5 tips if you are a beginner, right? To strength training, how to do it and how to manage your mindset, right? Your own expectations. Then I'm going to break some common strength training myths that not only people with TMS have, but a lot of other people too do have these myths related to strength training. And finally, I'm going to give a couple of additional tips that hopefully will really get you out of that fear mindset and get going. So the first thing is what I notice sometimes with people who have these chronic pains and sensations, and when they decide, okay, I'm going to get started with training, the first problem that I see is overcommitting. And this means that, let's say that there's a workout program. I'm going to use my own workout program as an example. So I have a program called Train to Build Starter, which is meant for people who are complete beginners to weightlifting or who have had TMS for a while and now are like, okay, I'm going to get started, I want to get started. Or maybe you're highly sensitive and you've always been really afraid of strength training. So this Train to Build Starter is designed for people like that. It is not meant to be overwhelming. It's not meant to be anything super intense. It is meant to get you started in a really safe way. But let's say now that you are that person, you're going to get started and you want to overcommit. And you decide that, okay, this program says 2 workouts per week in the first couple of weeks. I'm going to do more. I'm going to do 4, and then I'm going to do 5. And then in addition to the strength training workouts, I'm also going to throw in some cardio. I'm going to do some extra dancing or extra jogging and some extra yoga too, right? And people do that. And why is it? It is because a lot of people are still in this very perfectionist mindset. Like the more I do, the better I am. Or if I take something and I'm committing to it, I'm going to have to do more. It's always this idea that what I'm doing right now is not enough. I have to do more. And this is not a good place to be, because then you are just doing more than you need to. And if you are putting yourself under a lot of pressure, what can happen is you're just going to crash. And then you're going to tell that, oh my God, this didn't work. It was too much for me. Yes, it was too much because you overcommitted. You did more than what you were supposed to do. So my advice is that if you, for example, want to start with my program that has 2 workouts a week for the first couple of weeks, do just those 2, because there's a good chance that for months or even years you have done 0. So why do I have to go from 0 to 100? We don't need to do that. So don't overcommit. Don't do too much. It is not good. And the idea that if something works well, then when I do more of it, it will be even better is not always true at all. The second thing to keep in mind is this. Your workouts are not going to always be ideal and perfect. And you can't just get disappointed in yourself. You can't beat yourself up because of that. And again, this is the same perfectionism that you really have to keep in check. So here's an example. Let's say that one day you did 10 squats and you're like, oh, that felt really good. And then the next couple of weeks later, maybe you're like, I'm going to start using some dumbbells now. Let me pick up those 10-pound dumbbells and do squats with those. Okay, that's awesome. Then a little bit later, maybe next month, you're like, you know what? I can do this with 15 pounds. And you get used to this. This is awesome, right? You're adding and adding. And this is, yes, proof that you are getting stronger, which is wonderful, which is exactly what we want. But then there's going to be a day where the night before your sleep was crap, or something happened, or you feeling more fatigued, or you forgot to eat. You just feel like you don't have enough energy in you. And so you're going to go ahead and do your squats, and you just can't do the squats with those 15-pound weights anymore, or that day. And so you think, oh my goodness, all is lost. This is no good. I was so much better before, and now I've just lost all my gains because I'm supposed to be getting better every single workout, and on we go. And this is dangerous because you are having these expectations that are unrealistic. You can't improve every single workout. At the beginning, you might. And this is something that only beginners can have. So yeah, you're going to get better, but you're going to have that bad day. You're going to have that bad night when you didn't sleep. Then what? Then you still have to keep your mindset strong and tell yourself, I'm not going to let my confidence drop because of that. I'm not going to tell myself that all is over because this workout was a little bit weaker than my previous ones. if you think that you have to get better every single time, you are really, really hard on yourself. And the second thing, you're just not realistic. Because anybody who has lifted weights for more than 3 years, even a couple years, will tell you that not every workout is going to be a home run. Not every workout is going to be where all the stars align and you feel perfect and you're going to hit personal records left and right. If this were the case, after 5 years, you would be probably lifting thousands of pounds. But this is not how it goes. So you have to manage your own expectations and be okay if some things don't work out perfectly. Just recently, I had a shoulder injury myself, and I couldn't really do much with my shoulder for 7 weeks. So now, can you imagine if I go back and I'm like terribly disappointed in myself for not being able to use the same weights that I used 8 weeks ago? That would be ridiculous, right? To think this way. So don't do that either. Even though if you didn't have an injury, you had something else going on, don't be so hard on yourself. Everybody has these days when things are not perfect, and we have to be okay with it and not let our confidence drop and not make up stories about ourselves that are telling us that we are so, worthless and weak and just piece of crap. So please don't do that. The next thing that is dangerous and you should avoid is comparing yourself to other people. It is very easy to do because there's always, maybe you don't want to hear this, maybe it hurts to hear this, but this is the truth. There's always somebody who's better than you. Always will be. Unless you're an Olympic champion, and I don't think you are. So it's always going to be the case that somebody is going to be better than you are. And if you let that take all your attention, then you're just going to let your confidence drop. You're going to tell yourself, again, I'm nobody, right? Let's say that you had a really good workout, you felt really good, and then you heard that another friend or somebody, is using way heavier weights or doing more complex exercises or is just way ahead of you, and you're like, oh man, like I must look so dumb. I can't do this yet that she's doing. Maybe I shouldn't do this at all. So don't compare. Don't compare your abilities. Don't compare your strength level. Don't compare your body. Right? It's okay. You are where you are. Be grateful for the body that you have, that it's doing the things that it's doing for you. This is really keeping your eyes on your own prize, which is your health, your confidence, your just sense of well-being. This is what we want. We don't want to deal with what others are doing. Everybody's doing their own stuff. So please don't compare yourself with others. And of course, it's especially dangerous if you spend a lot of time on social media and then you compare with one person and another. You really need to clear up your social media feed if this is what you're doing, because you can use, of course, you can have some people as inspiration, like, this is cool, I want to be able to do that, wow, this is amazing. That's one thing. But if you are comparing your body or your abilities with somebody else just so that you can tell yourself how miserable and how not good you are, then this is not inspiring. This is just putting yourself down, and we don't want to do it. I think many of us have done it for too many years, so let's cut the cycle here and stop doing it. Okay, then the next thing that you want to be careful about or be mindful about is understanding that you're going to have little setbacks. And I don't mean necessarily with your chronic sensations, but setback in terms of like you get sick or you get injured or something like that happens. And so what you are not going to do is to throw in the towel and say that it's all back to square one because I couldn't work out this 1 week or these 2 weeks because I had a terrible cold. Now, if you say that, then this is not a long-term thing that you're trying to do here, right? But I hope that you want to do the long-term thing, which is, yes, I'm going to keep working out forever, right? As long as I'm here, I'm going to keep working out. This is my new lifestyle now. So if just because you were out for like a couple of weeks because you had a terrible cold, you're going to decide that all is gone, all is lost now, I'm not going to do it anymore, well, that's not a very good mindset at all, because you're here for the long game, aren't you? So keep that in mind. If you have a little setback in whatever shape or form it comes, it's going to be okay, right? You will get to the other side of it, just like I got to the other side of my shoulder injury, pretty long one. But it doesn't mean that I was like, oh, now everything's gone. All the years of lifting, all is gone. It's not. You just have to calm down. You have to tell yourself that, hey, it's all fine. It's okay. Let's not make like a super big deal out of it. It's really not worth it. Okay, and one more thing that you have to keep in mind is that you are allowed to modify your workouts. let's again use this example. You get my workout program or somebody else's workout program, and it says you got to do these reps and these sets and so on, right? And I want you to be able to still listen to yourself if something doesn't work for you. Again, let's say you have a not so ideal day, or you had terrible night's sleep or whatever, and you're thinking, oh my God, I cannot, cut out one set because the program said 3, but I'm so freaking tired. I would be happy to do just 1 or 2, and you just can't give yourself that break, and you think you have to keep going. Well, the program is there to, yes, give you guidance, because otherwise, you don't know what to do. So yes, the program is there to guide you, but that doesn't mean that you're not allowed to make any modifications to it. I mean, don't modify the whole thing, because then what was the point of getting the program? But if there's something that, for some reason needs adjustment, needs modification, do it. Trust that you are allowed to do this. You don't even have to contact your trainer or the person who created the program and ask permission to do that. You are allowed to change things if something for some reason doesn't work for you. But that said, I want to make sure that you understand that if you have TMS and you have a little bit of like a symptom or sensation, that you don't get terrified of that and immediately say, nope, I can't do it, because that's not the right thing to do either. You gently have to challenge yourself still. But I'm talking about like other things, like I said, like fatigue, or you're tired, or something happened, you feel like I have to cut today's workout a little bit shorter. Maybe you had really intense work day, you don't have time for the whole workout. Just do half, and you don't have to report about it to anybody. You don't need to ask anybody's permission. You have the right to make changes to your plan. Okay, now I want to move on to 5 more generic myths that a lot of people have when it comes to strength training, and these things can apply to beginners, but also a little bit more advanced weightlifters. And the first thing is this. A big myth is that strength training workouts have to be super complicated, right? And there has to be a lot of difficult things. We have to use a lot of tools and different workout, things like balls and dumbbells and bands and ab wheels, so like everything in one workout. And we have to do a workout so that we combine several different things. And this is not the case at all. Actually, what's true is that your most effective movements are the ones that you actually do a lot already in real life, which is like you're going to squat, you're going to put something overhead, you're going to bend forward. Well, you're going to, do these types of movements, and it's very similar in a workout too, actually. But of course, you're going to add maybe some weight to it if you're a little bit more advanced, or you don't add any weight if you're a beginner. But the workouts that look like so much fun, because you are standing on a Bosu ball on, one foot on a ball and then dumbbell in one hand, and you're pressing it overhead. Like, this might look like fun, but it's not useful. It's just not useful. And you see this stuff a lot of times in like bootcamp classes or those tiny little YouTube videos where people make you do this stuff. And honestly, it has like no function. It really has no function, no practical value, and you're not getting significantly stronger from it. So just ditch this idea that it has to be super complicated. What works best is the foundational stuff: squats, overhead presses, hip hinges, things like that are very simple and then work really well. So you don't have to do anything crazy. The next thing that is a very common myth is that more is better. So we kind of talked about it in the beginning too. But the idea here is that, let's say somebody starts with 3 workouts a week and gets great results, and now she thinks, I have to do 5 or 6 because that's going to give me even better results. And again, not necessarily true, because what if you overtrain? What if you do too much? What if you do so much that you're going to be sore all the time? Was it really better then? No. And in my experience, most people do really well when they do 3 workouts per week on average. This is, an average person. It's a different story if you are a little bit more advanced, or if you're like a total beginner. If you're more advanced, maybe you do 4 or 5, but 5 is definitely on the higher side, and you have to make sure that your recovery is good. A lot of people, especially a lot of women in their like mid-40s, 50s and beyond, they just don't have that great recovery. So I don't see the reason why they have to push themselves to do 5 workouts a week. No, let's just do strength training 3 days a week, plenty of rest between the sets, and that's going to be really great. So more is not better necessarily. The next thing is that workouts have to change all the time. So this is another myth. Workouts have to change all the time. Every day I have to do something new. And again, not true at all. In my experience, if you repeat similar workouts for 1 month, that's ideal. So for example, my intermediate level program, Train to Build Intermediate, I have 3 workouts per month. Yes. And you're going to do these 3 on week 1, the same 3 week 2, same 3 week 3, and same 3 on week 4. And that's how you do it. And sometimes people look at my program, they're like, oh, but that's not enough variety. I'm like, that's because you don't need more variety. You actually need to repeat certain movements to get stronger and to get really good at those movements. And that's what's going to give you the benefits that you're looking for. The benefits are not going to come from every workout being different. And if you've heard the term, maybe you have, maybe you haven't, but the term muscle confusion, that's just a very confusing and unnecessary term. You don't need it. You have to get solid. You have to get really good at doing the basic foundational lifts regularly, very well, repeat them often enough to see results. This is how you get results. So it really isn't about like more different stuff is better and like confusing your muscles, which is just BS. Let's be honest here. Okay, the next myth is that working out is all about weight loss and fat loss. And of course, weight loss and fat loss can happen as a result of working out. And I think it's totally okay to have that goal. If this is your goal, that's totally fine. But don't think that this is the only reason. A lot of times people start weightlifting and strength training because they want to lose weight. And that's the only goal that keeps them going. But honestly, that's not going to be sustainable for most people. Because it becomes just so much pushing and forcing, and they're staring in the mirror and like, oh, things are not changing as fast as I want to, and it's not good. And then people just throw in the towel and not going to do it. But if you can switch your mindset and understand that working out is so much more about your mindset, for your mental health, for physical strength, so that you can feel really good and strong in your body. It's about good hormonal health. It's about good blood sugar regulation. There are so many other things. And a lot of people who have lifted weights 3 years, 4, 5, 10 years will tell you that the main reason why they go back and continue lifting weights is not anymore because I want to change my body so desperately, but it is because it's a habit and it's something that my mind needs. This is something that makes me feel better physically and mentally. It's not just like fat loss anymore. So I hope that this is clear, and I hope that you really understand the benefits of mental health, that you can really improve because you are lifting weights. Okay, and the last myth that I want to break here is that people think they can only get benefits from exercise if it makes them lose weight. But actually, this is not true. You get more benefits from building muscle and getting stronger, right? This is the most important thing. Even if you don't lose weight, but you build muscle and get stronger, that will improve your health. It really is true. And of course, like I said, I absolutely understand that this is a lot of people's goal to lose weight. It's absolutely fine goal. I have nothing against it. I've helped many people do that, lose weight that way too. Yes, it is one of the tools, but also realize that even if the scale is not moving, even if you're not like visibly getting smaller quickly, but you're building muscle, this is where your health improves. Muscle is so beneficial, and actually one of the big things here is blood sugar regulation. A lot of people think that, oh, if I have like problems with blood sugar, I have to just lose weight. No, your main priority in this case should be to build muscle, right? Weight loss is nice, it's fun, it's great, right? It probably helps you if you're overweight and you have blood sugar issues, but you get so many benefits from building muscle. So have that as your primary goal, I would say. Okay, and then I want to finish on a couple of more things, coming back to one more time to TMS, or nervous system regulation. If you have that problem, I want to just mention some ways of like how you can approach your workouts when you're afraid of your pain coming back, right? So what do you do if you're like, oh, this is so uncomfortable, I'm gonna hurt? So let's talk about a couple of things here. So the first thing is this: make sure that you are clear on what you're dealing with. Because I think some people still need convincing that this truly is a mind-body issue or nervous system issue. They still fully don't believe it. And of course, in order to make in order to be sure that this is what you're dealing with, you have to be checked out by a medical doctor and know that for sure there's nothing physically wrong with you, and this is truly a nervous system issue. You can also put these pieces together when you look at your personality traits: perfectionism, people pleasing, conflict avoidant, fear of uncertainty, like all of these things, needing to control, overdoing, overcommitting. So these are really, really common signs of somebody who has these TMS problems, right? So I just want to make sure that you are clear on what we're dealing with, so that when you get like a little bit of back sensation, that's actually a TMS sensation, you don't like pack your bags and leave the gym right away, because this is normal. These things come up if you push your nervous system a little bit, which is what you do when you go to the gym. So I want you to be clear that what you're dealing with is TMS, and not get terrified and not get discouraged if you get a little bit of sensation when you're working out. The second thing that I really recommend is when you prepare for your workout, you have TMS, right? Or you just had it, and then you're preparing for working out, spend some time to visualize how your workout is going to go, and make it really good. Make it positive. Make yourself feel like this is going to be great. I'm going to be so successful. My body's going to feel light and at ease. My body's going to feel vibrant and full of energy. It's free from all sensations. I just feel wonderful. And after I've finished my workout, I walk out of the gym and I feel like I could take on the world because I feel so good. So something along these lines should be your self-talk and a little bit of visualization before you head into your workout. So do that. It's kind of like you're priming yourself, you're priming your mind, and you're going to have a more successful workout versus like, I don't know how it's going to go. Should I go? Should I not go? Don't do that. Go in with confidence and then prepare your mind before you go. Okay. Then the next tip that I have for you, if you have TMS, just like how to get ready for the workout, is don't check your symptoms. Don't look for them. Right? If you go in there and you start doing squats, and you know that squatting usually hurts your back, and you start kind of like trying to find it, and you're like, oh wait, it's not here, but is it here? Is it here? Is it here? Is it here? You're going to move around and trying to find it. Then you're going to find it, and then you have a problem, and we don't want to do it. So don't look for symptoms, because if you really want to find them, you are going to. Your mind can create them on the spot like that, even if it wasn't there before. So really make sure that you don't do it. Then the next thing is, let's say that you do have some pain or something pops up as you're going through your workout. And what can you do then? Well, there are a couple of options, a couple of things that you can try. Some people like the bring it on mindset, which is like, I know this is nothing. I'm not going to be afraid of this, whatever, right? Make it go up. Let's see how much, how much I can handle, or along these lines, like you're just really courageous, brave, you're kind of stepping up, you're like, hey, you don't mess with me type of attitude. So you can try that. And what you can also try when you start noticing pain or sensation, you can close your eyes for a moment. This is what I do if I have something popping up. I just close my eyes. Yeah, it's a noisy gym, whatever, people are on there, I don't care. And I just close my eyes and I visualize something gentle. So sometimes I could visualize like a white light coming to the area that's painful, that's hurting. I definitely slow down my breath. I'm going to make my exhale a little bit longer. So just like kind of like that, giving myself a moment to let the system calm and settle down. And I'm not gonna stop. I don't stop. I just know that this is nothing. I mean, I guess if it was like terrifying, I couldn't move, yes, but in general, I'm not gonna let like a little bit of thing that's popping up stop me. I just don't do it. So I visualize, I bring this healing into my body, and you can try, like I said, you can try the other one too. I've tried that one too. Sometimes like, whatever, I don't care, bring it on if you want to. I've actually used this bring it on months ago, sometime last year, when I had a random ankle pain popping up. And I was like, what the heck is this? And I knew there's nothing wrong. I hadn't done anything that should really physically cause this thing. So what I did, I walked on it. I put weight on it on purpose. I was like, okay, let's do it. Because I know I'm fine. And it was hurting a little bit more. And then I said, I'm going to run now. So I did run, and I don't know how long I jogged, maybe like 10 minutes or something like that, a little bit less. And then I came back home and it went away. So I tried to come back the next day. I was like, nope, not listening to you. And it went away. So it's a mix of things. I don't think there's just one thing that like, okay, always like the bring it on mindset is going to always work, or just like bringing in the healing light that always this wouldn't work. You just have to feel which one is better for you and what you feel like is better for you in the moment too. So you can try both of these things, but I recommend that you respond to it in some ways. Either you say bring it on, or you're like, okay, I'm gonna heal this, by bringing in the light, or good higher positive vibration, something like that. So this usually helps. And the last piece of advice is that if things get really bad, right, like you get a lot of sensations, a lot of symptoms, like you're in a lot of pain, then just pause. Tell yourself it's okay to rest today. It's okay to take a break here and maybe try again tomorrow or the day after or maybe next week or something like that. But just don't make it like 3 months out, I'm gonna do it then. No. So this means like pause, yes, pause, but don't stop like for 3 months, because then the break is just too long. You haven't proven to your brain at all that you can actually handle this. What you actually did, you backed off when something happened, and it wasn't just like for a moment. You backed off and you stayed off, right? And we don't want that, because the goal is to open your window of tolerance, do more, get used to exercise again. It's all totally normal, and this is part of your healing too. I really believe that strength training is a big part of your healing, and you should really try it if you are capable of doing even just a little bit. So I can't tell you how healing it can really be. So if you're interested, I have a free program. It is called Strong and Sensitive. If you don't have it yet, go ahead and get that program. And this is a 14-day audio course, which means that you're going to get an audio lesson every day into your inbox, and you're also going to get some workouts into your inbox to try out. If you, for some reason, don't want to do the workouts, still get the course, because the mindset pieces that I'm going to share with you every day are going to be really helpful for you in healing from these chronic sensations and pains. So go ahead and sign up for that. I'm going to put the link in the description. And also, if you're interested in my full strength training program, so full routine, so you can get my Train to Build starter if you are a total beginner, or you can get Train to Build intermediate if you already have some experience. And if you're not sure which one is better for you and you're interested in one of them, then just send me an email or send me a message on Instagram and let me know, describe me your situation a little bit, and I'm super happy to get back to you and help you decide which one you should get. So I hope this episode helped you today. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you again very soon. Take care.